Welcome back to the channel. In the last video you saw me swap out my individual cell monitoring boards to the new single board design, which has been working great over the past few weeks. I'll finish that off today by integrating the active balancer I'm also using. This will mean the active balancer is now controlled by the BMS, which can determine when to switch it on and off. I've also got several software changes to show you, but first let's have a look at that active balancer. Using the web interface, we can configure the monitoring board to switch on the active balancer once the voltage of the highest cell goes over this value. Additionally, we also require at least 5 millivolt differential between the lowest and the highest cell voltages to enable the balancer to be switched on. These values can be changed to suit the types of cells you have and the different lithium chemistries. Let's take a look at the software changes that I've recently made. First up, I've spent quite a long time improving the Wi-Fi and MQTT code. Some users have reported issues with the Wi-Fi connection dropping out and often not reconnecting. Now, this isn't entirely a fault with the DIYBMS code. It appears to be a problem with the ESP32 hardware and its core libraries. The problem also seems worse with a Fritzbox Wi-Fi router, particularly ones running in a mesh network configuration. There's some discussion in GitHub issues, so if you are finding this problem, please take the time to comment and share your findings. A side effect of the Wi-Fi issues relates to the MQTT output. This also stops, but it doesn't restart correctly once the Wi-Fi has been re-established. Hopefully I fixed this as part of these changes. Whilst I'm talking about MQTT, there is a new option you can enable to only report the basic cell information over it. Up to now, a lot of information has been sent out, but this basic reporting feature only outputs the cell voltage and the temperature, which is all I actually really want to know about. This also reduces the load on the controller and the MQTT server. The keen-eyed of you will have noticed support for Home Assistant, but I'll cover how that works in a separate video. Over on the CAN bus integration, we have experimental emulation of Pylon Force H2 high voltage batteries. And thank you for Patrick for submitting those changes. I've also added a baud rate selection for the CAN bus connection, which allows newer Victron RS devices to receive data from DIYBMS. These inverters use a 250 kilobit per second option. There are also some changes to the code running on the 16S monitoring board. The first is an auto baud rate detection feature. This attempts to synchronise with the controller automatically and means that there are less pre-compiled files to pick from when you actually program the board in the first time. So once communication is established, that speed is locked until the next reboot. So if you wish to change the speed, do so on the controller, reboot that, and then also reboot the 16S monitoring board simply by disconnecting the 2-pin power connector. There have also been improvements to the runaway cell voltage detection and also the balance improvements. And finally, the communication round trip time has been reduced, which will help those of you with larger battery setups. All of these changes are available in GitHub as usual. So that wraps up these latest changes. As I mentioned, the next video will cover the Home Assistant integration. And I've also realised I've not mentioned my Patreons for a while. So a big thank you to all of those that support this project with financial help. If you also wish to support me, there are links in the description. And finally, please subscribe to this channel to get regular updates on new features being added to the DIYBMS. Thank you for watching.